Hello everyone, ex-Walk Hill Bethelite here. And Jehovah's Witnesses, they got themselves a nice Christmas gift from the governing body, allowing them to grow beards. So that's one of the latest changes that everybody's been talking about. I think I've talked about it. The last couple of videos I did was surrounding the shunning, and basically just proving that while Bethel may essentially say that they do not shun, you call an actual congregation elder and they are shunning, and I'm talking, he's shunning just about everybody in his family. Not speaking to any of his kids, none of it, because Watchtower 100% does not want to change the shunning. Now, the beard situation, you know, Jehovah being wrong all these years about beards may seem like a small thing, but it's actually big to somebody like me who worked at Bethel, because Watchtower is trying to say that the view, the overall view, is different about beards. People don't think of beards negatively anymore, as if they did in the past. I don't even know where they got that from. But if the beard rule was about the view of the public in general, why is it then that, you know, we had to shave even a 5 o'clock shadow at Bethel? At Bethel, you're so busy, you got to get up early. You got to go to morning worship. You got to go straight from morning worship to work, because you don't got a lot of time between morning worship and the time you got to be at work. So you got to go straight from morning worship, then you got to go to work. Then you come back from work, and then sometimes you got to go to extra stuff like the Bethel Family Watchtower stuff. By the time you done did all that, you're tired, you go to sleep, you wake up to do the same thing the next day. Sometimes people would have little 5 o'clock shadows. That was a no-go at Bethel. You would have to shave just so that you wouldn't grow a little bit of hair on your face at Bethel. And I'm talking, you would sometimes use your break at Bethel, your lunch break, to get a nap in. From all that running around from point A to point B at Bethel, you would sometimes use your break to get a nap in. Well, sometimes I'd have to use my break to go and shave, because it wasn't just beards, it was anything resembling a beard Jehovah's Witnesses were against. And you would get counseled at Bethel for growing what they would call a 5 o'clock shadow. Now, this is a full beard. I'm talking just a little bit of fuzz here, a little bit of fuzz there was horrible at Bethel. So I remember going all the way to my room, skipping lunch to go all the way to my room just to shave. I'm talking sacrificing a meal just to shave, because Jehovah did not want us to have beards or 5 o'clock shadows. And now they done got rid of the whole thing altogether after all that work at Bethel. Because keep in mind, Bethel only has so many things to shave with in the commissary. I'm at Walk Hill. The things that they had to shave with in the commissary would break me out. When I first got to Bethel, I just used what was in the commissary. I didn't know where anything else was. I'm at Walk Hill. Walk Hill, Watchtower owns everything. It's this huge plot of land everywhere you can look, everything you can set your eyes on, Watchtower owns. You drive down the road, and it's still all a bunch of facilities and buildings that Watchtower owns. I just had the commissary when I first started working at Bethel. So the commissary would have the razors and the shaving cream. When I used the razors and the shaving cream, oftentimes it would break me out. And that is extremely uncomfortable, especially for anybody that's got sensitive skin, because then you have ingrown hairs and then it just gets worse. So there were times where, you know, I've got all kinds of rashes and I'm miserable and basically suffering at Bethel because I'm shaving with these razors, because that's all that was provided there in the commissary. If you want anything else, you got to be able to go way out somewhere to a store. And keep in mind, there was a time where I didn't have a vehicle because I drove the vehicle I had into the ground, going out in field service and pioneering with it. And Bethel could care less to help me fix that vehicle. So I'm stuck with what they had at the commissary. And there are a lot of men that can't shave with just anything. I couldn't, but I would have to. And that's the sacrifice I was making. Now, if beards were no big deal, Jehovah just up and changed his mind, beards are not the devil anymore to Jehovah's Witnesses, then I never had to go through all that. And I'm talking, it wasn't just me. There was a time that I went to go sit down for lunch and I am lit up. I'm talking, my face is just red and sore everywhere. And there was another brother that came and sat right next to me. And the reason I think he came and sat right next to me is because he was embarrassed, because his face was all inflamed and swollen up and he had bumps and everything everywhere also. So, of course, he comes in, sees me, and he comes and sits right next to me because he ain't the only one. So this wasn't just me suffering at Bethel because of this stupid beard rule that never came from Jehovah. This was a rule, from my understanding, that Rutherford, the guy that basically took over everything from Charles Taze Russell, didn't want anything to do with anything that even resembled Russell. And Russell had this big beard, so I think he banned beards because he didn't want, you know, anybody that sided with Charles Taze Russell when he was taking over. He wanted a clear distinction from people who sided with him and people who sided with Charles Taze Russell and their group. So they wanted a reason to just get rid of them all. So ban beards. We'll use that as a rule to just get rid. This stupid rule that Jehovah's Witnesses just up and changed was one of the things that I had to struggle with at Bethel. And now for them to just be like, oh, well, y'all can just have beards. I should have been able to have a beard at Bethel because it didn't affect anything. Because the only other people at Bethel were Jehovah's Witnesses. Literally, I worked with all Jehovah's Witnesses. It was not going to bring reproach on the organization because I have facial hair when I work with nothing but brothers. And then when I went to lunch, there's nothing but Jehovah's Witnesses for the most part in there. It's not going to bring reproach. I didn't have to shave with these razors that were causing pain and discomfort. See, when Jehovah's Witnesses come up with these ridiculous rules, people suffer behind them. Even the stupid rules in regards to beards, having to shave, and you have sensitive skin, you're talking people suffering for years. I had to go and get this stuff. It's called Magic Shave. And Magic Shave, whenever I would use it, would smell up the whole room. Now, the living room that I'm in right now is bigger than my entire Bethel room. So it would smell up the whole room, the whole bathroom, and half the hallway. It was ridiculous trying to keep up with this stupid rule. And all these people had to do was just up and change it because the organization is just a bunch of men making stuff up as they go and changing it as they go. If these rules were from Jehovah, they couldn't change them. Because the Bible says God never changes. But Watchtower constantly changes, which means you look at that scripture, Watchtower is not of God. Watchtower can't stop changing. And it says, the Bible says God never changes. If you walk around, if I go on a tour at Bethel and I see a bunch of people walking around comfortably in beards after, for years, I suffered having to shave and all this stuff and try to find ointment and stuff to put on my skin because of the discomfort from the this right here, this slipper, I'd want to go upside somebody's head with this slipper, thinking about all the time that I suffered because of that stupid rule. It's like, where is Sam Hurd when I got my slipper in my hand like that? Because I would flex it and I would go over that head where you hear the swish and then the slap. Not just the slap, I don't know if y'all can hear the swish slap. That's what they need. Swish slap, like swish, like that. That's what they need for just the stupidity. I'm talking the rule that they had where people were not supposed to pursue higher education because Watchtower said the end of the world was about to come literally any day, can come tomorrow. So why would you be worried about going to school when the end of the world is coming? Armageddon is coming probably any day now, is what they were saying. Well, that stupid man-made Watchtower rule ended up causing people to make decisions that were extremely destructive to their lives. Tons of people ended up not going to school. And then as time passed, things became more technical, where jobs are requiring more education, where you ain't just got a bunch of factories anymore that are as well paying as they used to be. So Watchtower and all these man-made stupid rules that they follow. They don't follow Jehovah. They follow all these man-made stupid rules. Not going to college. Where in the world in the Bible does it tell you not to go to college? Where in the world in the Bible does it say you can't have a beard? Oh, Jehovah changed his mind. Now you can have a beard. Where is any of this stuff in the Bible? The whole Watchtower man-made rule, if you were a Jehovah's Witness, you know that this was darn near Watchtower teaching. That if you had a job and this job required you to work on meeting days, then it was about doctrine that if you quit your job so that you can go to meetings and you just could go out in field service, Jehovah would find you a new one. Now, how many households and lives did that ruin with people quitting jobs because elders are telling them God is going to find you another job if you quit the one you have that won't let you go to meetings and field service. He's just going to find you and bless you and find you a new job. And then if he doesn't find you a new one and you're struggling, Jehovah's Witnesses ain't going to help. They're going to say, well, you must be doing something wrong. You must not be having enough faith enough. The ridiculousness is just beyond measure of the man-made rules of Watchtower and the destructive effect that these man-made rules. People are supposed to follow God as ruler rather than man, but Jehovah's Witnesses are running around with all kinds of rashes on their faces and things like that because man would not let them have beards. And they were following man. There's so many Jehovah's Witnesses that'll flat out tell you, well, the brothers at the branch want us to do so-and-so, and we want to follow the brothers at the branch. Jehovah's Witnesses will almost outright tell you that men stand in the place of Jehovah for them. Watchtower and Jehovah to them it's the same thing. It's the group of men that tell them what to do, and they do whatever it is they are told to do. The problem is while the governing body can just up and change rules whenever in the world they want to, these rules have been a pain and a thorn in the side of people for years. They suffered for years because they thought Jehovah wanted them to do these things. Now it should be readily apparent it was never Jehovah. It was a group of men who just up and changed their mind later on that, oh yeah, that was kind of a stupid idea from the start. So yeah, you had a bunch of Bethelites suffering because any kind of an issue that your average person would have is magnified times 2 at Bethel. Because A, at Bethel, you don't have as much money. B, at Bethel, everybody doesn't even have a car to be able to get places, to get the things that they need to be able to shave. So they got to come up with all kinds of creative ways to shave, some of which I've heard are somewhat painful. I've heard of brothers having something where they would put it on their face and just rip it off, and it would pull all the hair out. And for them, it wouldn't make them break out. So you got people doing all kinds of painful things because of this Watchtower stupid no beard rule. And this is a fine example of just how stupid Jehovah's Witnesses are. Because you had a whole bunch of them run around doing everything they could to make sure they didn't have no beard. And they, in a blink of an eye, now they're all running around probably growing beards as we speak. And not one of them can figure out that there's something wrong with this picture. Are beards wrong or are they not wrong? Were they ever wrong to begin with? Have they been following man all this time? They don't have enough brains to figure this stuff out. And that's the thing about it, is Jehovah's Witnesses, yes, they shun. The last video I did proves that they shun. The elder flat out pretty much said that they shun. But the level of stupidity that Jehovah's Witnesses have, they're so easily influenced. They're so easily tricked that if you really wanted to talk to your Jehovah's Witness family, which oftentimes there's nothing interesting to talk about. They don't do nothing but their watchtower and then go stand next to a cart. I mean, that's pretty much their whole life. So there ain't nothing much to talk about. But if you did want to talk to Jehovah's Witnesses about something, they're so stupid, you could easily trick them into a conversation. If I wanted to talk to a relative right now, there's a relative right now that didn't talk to me. I text them and they don't text back. If I wanted to, all I had to do is call with a different phone and make my voice sound a little bit different. I can have all kind of conversation with them. Tell them I'm from such and such a congregation and they told me to call you and see how you're doing. And they fall for it because Jehovah's Witnesses are just that dumb, and I'm not exaggerating. I can do it now with the relative that doesn't want to talk to me. Jehovah's Witnesses are just so dumb. All I got to do is just make my voice a little bit lower pitched and then call them, and then they'll just sit there and hold a whole conversation. They cannot figure out. They can't get 2 brain cells to freaking function in their heads. This is how stupid they are, because you don't see too many cults where they're making big announcements about the stupid thing Watchtower is making announcements about. You don't see a whole bunch of cults making announcements saying, well, you couldn't have a beard, now you can have a beard. You just don't see that. Because Watchtower is just on a level of stupidity just below most other cults. So Jehovah's Witnesses, for the most part, there ain't nothing to talk to them about because they're so stupid that they don't do nothing but their Watchtower, go to a meeting, stand next to a car, maybe knock on a door. Maybe they have a part at a meeting. They just talk to each other. It's a small little group. It's boring. There ain't nothing to talk to them about. But if you did want to talk to them, there's a million ways I can come up with right now where you could talk to your Jehovah's Witness family because they're so stupid. You can easily trick them. I've got a relative who I pranked because they were getting on my nerves, stirring up rumors about me when they don't talk to me. So Jehovah's Witnesses do this thing where they want to shun you, but they don't want to tell everybody that they're shunning you. So they still speak to people as if they're in communication with you. They just spread stupid rumors. Well, I found out that was happening, and I pranked a relative and tricked them into thinking somebody was trying to have a study with them. And he had this fake study with this person for, it felt like months. They were having this and they kept it going. And then eventually the person, I think, got tired of it. And he never figured it out. He never figured out the whole thing was a prank and it was being recorded and we were laughing. He never figured it out because he called me asking what happened to the person that he was studying with. I'm like, you ain't figured this out yet, you idiot. That's how they are. That's why they can't figure out when Watchtower's changing all this crazy stuff. That is not from Jehovah, it's from man. They can't figure it out because they're dumb. I know they're dumb because I have relatives who are Jehovah's Witnesses and I trick them all the time. They're dumb. So that's the beauty of it. The horrible thing is there's this cult that destroys lives. It's very destructive. The rules that they come up with are extremely destructive. The no blood rule, the not going to college rule, that you can't have beer, all this crazy stuff. But the good thing is that Jehovah's Witnesses are so stupid that if you wanted them to not shut, you could come up with a million ways to trick them. You could just tell them that you went to the meeting on Zoom. And you just cut your laptop on and then cut the volume down and then just watch TV or go to the store or go to the mall. These people are so stupid that you could just tell them that you went to the meeting, you went on Zoom. If you just wanted to talk to them, there ain't nothing to talk to them about. But if you just wanted to talk to them, you could do that. They're so stupid. You could tell them you could tell them that you moved to another state and the elders over there reinstated you and whatnot. And they're just so stupid. A lot of these Jehovah's Witnesses are so stupid. So the shunning is a problem. But if you wanted to find a way around it, just think, Watchtower ain't the only one that can take advantage of how stupid these people are. If you wanted to, you could do it too, and you could talk to your relatives. Just come up with, my name is Marcus, I can come up with Jason, or just use my middle name, Jason, or Brandon, or something like that. And then just call them and change my voice. These people are idiots. Sometimes we don't, fully understand how stupid they are. But these people are bona fide idiots. So all those years at Bethel, going through all that to be shaven, and I'm talking shaven all the time. Shaven when I'm walking down the halls at Bethel. Shaven when I'm going to breakfast and lunch and dinner and to work. And just walking around the facility at Bethel, I'm constantly freaking shaving. And for some of us, shaving hurt. And for us to go through all that, and for the governing body to just up and change it, I don't care how old some of these governing body members are. It makes you want to just do a hurricane wheel, what is that called? Whirlwind kick, where you spin around, something Bruce Lee did, and just, you did the kick and all the teeth go flying and herd suspenders go flying and some of their pampers drop down, and it's just stupid to have gone through all that. The many memories I can think of trying to get all the way to town. I think I would have to go all out to Middletown or somewhere to get this magic shave. And if they didn't have the magic shave, then I have to go all off somewhere searching for the stuff so that I could stay shaving all the time at Bethel. I couldn't mess around and not do it like you can do if you're not at Bethel. You just got to make sure you're shaving before you go out to service. You just got to make sure you're shaving before you go to a meeting. At Bethel, I had to make sure I was shaving all the time. So I had to search high and low for this magic shave stuff and for things that I could use that wouldn't break me out. And sometimes I had to go all the way out to stores 30 minutes away. That's 30 minutes there and back. And I'm already busy as a Bethelite. This is ridiculous. Jehovah needs to make up his mind. Do you like beards? Do you not like beards? Is it end of the world tomorrow? Is it not tomorrow? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Walk Hill Bethelite signing out.